All right. So good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar. We have our very own Dr. Annette Miles, who will present to us all things course design and the lessons that she learned when she initially underwent this process. So Dr. Annette Miles is a credentialed educator with 39 years of classroom instruction and consulting experience in Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. She specializes in teaching and assisting individuals with and without special needs to achieve educational, career, and life goals. Dr. Miles holds a Doctor of Philosophy in Human Development, concentrating on adult learning from Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. She earned an education specialist designation in transitional special education, specifically serious emotional disabilities, and a Master of Arts in Transitional Special Education with concentration on learning disabilities from George Washington University. And she earned her Bachelor's of Science in Special Education, non-categorical, from the University of the District of Columbia. She is a certified online builder and educator. She's also a certified brain pop animation educator, and she is an Association of College and University Educators teaching scholar. She's an assistant professor of adult education at the University of the District of Columbia, and her research interests include student transition, family engagement, and policies that impact young children's education and services. So let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Annette Miles. Oh, I think you're mute.
Thank you, Miss Kelly, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Um, the webinar is entitled Designing for Success, Best Practices in Course Design. And the purpose of this is to share the experiences that I have had building courses and also offering an opportunity to work with faculty here at UDC in building, whether it's a face-to-face or an online class. I just want you to know this. When I came in 2016, I took the job as a tenure professor in 2016. And I remember Dr. Carl Moore he was the director of the technology, and he was presenting an online workshop. And he said, "Why don't you come in, Dr. Mouse?" I was like, I'm not coming in. And so I did go in, and I was very fearful of technology. I mean, it just seemed like it was just so complicated and things like that. And he said, "We're going to get you going yet." And the next year I took the courses, and in 2018 I built my first course, and it has been I've built maybe about 7 or 8 courses since then. And so I just want to share the journey and just walk with others as they take the journey of building courses. So what I trying to go to the next one. So on the agenda, what I'd like to do is we have the introductions, what supports are needed, the purpose of the webinar, questions, and then just registration. I'll talk a little about the upcoming workshop series, and it's open to any faculty member. If you're new to building an online or a course, or if you have current experience, that's fine. So what I'd like for those who are here to introduce yourself and share your experience with course building. So you can unmute yourself and share your experience.
Hi, I'm Grace Kent. I am a member of the C.A.L team and I'm an instructional designer. So I'm quite familiar with course building, although I'm learning new things every day, it seems. We build courses through the Quality Matters rubric and just circumstantially with faculty all of the time. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Yolanda Plummer, professor in causes. I have experience building one course. I'm going to be ambitious enough to try to build my second one this summer. So I look forward to your presentation, Dr. Miles. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Julian King. I am instructional designer for C.A.L. I have had the opportunity to build a few courses, but I'm always looking and willing to learn from veterans like yourself.
And Julian King is my mentor. So he's been the one that helped me as I've built three courses and I'm working on my fourth one. So he has been a great support, a big support for me. So, all right. So one of the things that I remember when I started um, building courses, this is not moving. Um, when I started building courses, I felt like I was somewhat um, by myself, or there were not a lot of people building courses. And so that's why, that's another reason why I am doing this one, because I wanted you to be able to have a support person with you. And it's always good, even as a professor, I can always call someone and bounce things off of them. How does this sound? What are these are some of the things that I'm experiencing. If you experience these things, what strategies have you used? So what I want to know from you is, what are some challenges with building courses, or what are some challenges you had building courses? And I
Dr.
can
Miles,
go
Dr.
ahead.
Miles, for me, it's been just trying to make sure I don't like just you, I don't want to trying to make sure I have a variety of assignments or types of assignments. I don't necessarily like to use discussion boards because to me they're so monotonous. I know this semester I was able to meet with Grace Kent and start to integrate crossword puzzles into my class. I wanted to do something that's not just engaging, but that's also fun to the students. And then also something that has that wow factor, or something that's unexpected or that you don't normally see in the other online classes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, definitely.
I think that's a great point. I think for me, something that's pretty challenging sometimes is aligning your activities, your assessments, all of your course activities to measurable learning objectives. So you can have the best, most creative activities in your course, but if they're not tightly aligned to what you want your students to learn, that can be really challenging.
Mm-hmm,
So that's
mm-hmm.
something that I'm currently working on.
Okay, okay.
I'll add to that. I'll say time. Um,
Mm-hmm,
Create these
mm-hmm.
amazing learning experiences for students. It does take time, and that time needs to be very well placed in creating very intentional modules and weeks, so our students are getting what we want them to get out of it.
Mm-hmm. And that is true. And I agree with everything that each one of you had said about some of the challenges. And another challenge is just, you know, when I think about a class, I just sit back and just kind of like put it in front of me like a little cartoon. This is how I want it to be, and just trying to fill in. So it's just looking at getting the right resources, getting the right videos, getting things that are updated, and because that's another thing. If you're looking at Quality Matters, they do look at that. And Grace, you talked about alignment, aligning things, and I found a great taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy. It's a Quality Matters. It was done for Quality Matters, and it has not only the levels, it shows you the definition, it shows you the process verbs, the assessments you can use, and questions that will align with each of those. So I think that is very helpful. And I think another reason to have a buddy or a small team is so that you can bounce those types of things off of each other. What do you think about? I have this assignment. Does this, you think this question aligns with what's going on? And that is a biggie. So yes. And so again, with some of the challenges, what do you find to be the most challenging part of the process?
Um, I'll jump out there.
Okay.
Course map. Sometimes it's just planning out each week. Typically
Mhm.
most challenging. You have so many things you want to cover, so many cool resources and tools, but how do I take all of these ideas and all of these goals for the class and kind of put it in a 6-week frame or 8 module plan? I think that's the most challenging.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And piggybacking on that, Mr. King, I think also when you're trying to, as Grace mentioned before, when you're trying to align the assignments with the module learning objectives, but ensuring that all of the content is also consistent with that course objective as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And then in some cases, depending on what type of course it is, you're also trying not to repeat that content in more than one module, because there are some areas where you may need more than one module to explain the content.
Mhm. And one thing that I found, I mean, I have built both 8 week, 7.5, 8 week classes and 16-week classes. But it's just making sure as you're getting towards the end that those activities are just as robust and lively as the ones in the beginning, and just to keep that momentum going with those things. With each module is one thing that can be a challenge as well. Um, so also, what types of support would be helpful for you as you are thinking about building a course, as you are building a course, and you are looking at all of the resources, all of the things that you want to include in the course? What are some supports that you feel would be helpful to you?
I like the thought of the buddy system. I know that
Mhm.
that does help, particularly when you have someone um, who's, a little more experienced than yourself, because you just gave the example where you've completed the 16 8-week and I think 6-week class courses you said. So you can look at someone who is starting out, whether it's a 16-week or 8-week,
Mhm.
from a different vantage point and offer some suggestions. And so I think that does help. And then also it's good to know that somebody else has done it as well, but it also helps when you know that somebody's done it multiple times, so it's not as daunting. And then you can offer some shortcuts or even some tips, the ways to streamline the process as well.
Mhm. Okay. Because when you are like I remember when I started and I went to my second one, my first class was 100% online. It was 100% online. But the next one was like a hybrid. So I had to think about the assignments that I had when I'm face to face with the students and the ones online were both engaging, and that it was interesting, and that the discussion board questions were questions that they use. And at the time, my students were classroom teachers. So um, and I tried to make it so I tried to make the discussion, whether it was on discussion board or scenarios, things that could possibly happen, not only in the classroom, but in the school or in the community, or something that was dealing with families, so that they would engage, because it wouldn't be something that's foreign to them. It's something that they may have experienced. And even if they did not experience, there would be someone that say, well, I've had that happen to me once, I've had that happen to me twice, and this is how we handled it. And so it gave the other students an opportunity to get some strategies. And another thing, when with one thing that I found with the discussion board and just having discussions in general, students have an opportunity to make a contribution. And that's one thing that I do require, and I put that in my student data sheet. I tell them that I expect you to make a contribution. So if you come across a video that you feel that would be good for us in the classroom, or an article, or if you come across, like some of them came across a movie, they told me about a movie. And so we was like, oh, let's watch the movie. And we watched the movie and we discussed it. And it really helped, because I always let them know I am the facilitator, and every one of you, just like me, I learn from you like you learn from me. And together we provide each other with a new set of knowledge and skills, so that we can all be helpful and supportive to everyone that we work with. So that's one of the things. So you said the buddy system and tips, and just getting everyone to use the skills that they have, because they don't always think that they have skills that can contribute, and they do. So with this webinar, I just wanted to talk about the upcoming workshops that I would like to do for faculty. And again, it could be new faculty, but I would really would like to have new faculty, so that they can sit down and just look at the syllabus, and just get their syllabus down pat, and then a course map, and we can help each other with anything that you want to go in there, who your theorist going to be, what type of videos you want, the articles. We have the librarian. We have Miss Kowalski, who can be very instrumental as well, to help us with any resources, and C.A.L. So I would like to just use my experience. And I'm not saying that I'm all expert, but I have, I enjoy doing this. I wasn't scared off, even though I was afraid, even though I was afraid to do it in 2016, I did eventually just keep going at it and keep going at it and keep going at it. And I am, I no longer am technology shy. Um, and I really do like putting things together. And like I said, I'm a retired special education teacher, and we had to do a lot of our stuff. We had to develop a lot of our own materials and things. So I like doing that. And so building the courses is something that, that I would like to share with the faculty members as my service. That's part of my service. So we're going to look at um, getting a framework together for a course, because I know sometimes when new faculty come in, um, there's so many things going on. And I know when I came, I was called on a Sunday and the class started on a Monday, and I was up Sunday night doing a syllabus. And so I think that if we get those things done in advance, we won't be so hurried on the first day, because we have everything lined up. We have all of our resources, everything will be in place, everything organized. I give I give my students the same grade sheet that I use, but it's blank. I give them, I have 3 or 4 grade sheets. If they're doing a chapter review, a chapter reflection, their discussion board, they have the regular grade sheet. And if I have small group or something, I have it so they know when things are due. They know the points, and everything is lined up for them. So that's just how I am. And so I present to my students the way I, as a learner, want someone to present to me. I want my things. I like things laid out for me. All right. So that is what I wanted to speak about in building a course, so we can help each other with that. And that takes me to, what is the starting point? Where do you begin? And so, again, like I say, when I'm developing a brand new class, I think about, like my students said, well, I want an online class because I have 2 or 3 children, or I don't get off work until a certain time. And I think about how I want to present that class to them, if it's going to be high flex, if it's going to be hybrid, if it's going to be 100% online. And so I think about everything that's going to be in there, and I just sit and I just write everything down, and then I start with my syllabus. So I think for us in this workshop series, we're going to do that together, because UDC does have a template, a syllabus template, and we can start with that, and you can put in um, things that works for your class, and then we would take it from there. So if anyone would like to share where you begin when you are developing a class, or feel free to share.
Learning objectives and Bloom's taxonomy.
Mm-hmm.
Great place to start. Along with
Yes.
course map.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the course map as well, because usually most of the classes that I have, I usually have, I've done it in the Word document, and then I usually have to kind of walk it through with the course map, with the objectives as well as each of the assignments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree. Definitely the course map and specifically just those course goals. Like at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
what do I want you to be able to do? What do I want you to be able to know, to discuss, to identify, to locate? Um, because that kind of shapes how I want to put this course together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
Sometimes,
that's good. Go
sorry.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As sometimes when I think about the starting point, I think of just the ending point, really. Kind
Uh-huh.
of how backwards design works too. If you
Mm-hmm.
think about it as a
Mm-hmm.
marathon, where do you want to end up? How do we train for that moment? Well, learning is kind of the same thing. What do I want my students to gain from the class at the end? And then let's build backwards from that.
Mm-hmm. 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 In my current class in Introduction to Adult Education, my students have to do a learning contract. And so I showed them what a learning contract, what they would do in that learning contract, and then we work backwards. But you know, one thing that I have found to be very helpful is using that Bloom's taxonomy when I am developing my course goals and my objectives. But there's so many of them. I mean, oh my goodness, you pull it up and you get 1,000 types of Bloom's taxonomy. But and I also look at what, like I said, who are the heavy hitters in the field, who are the theorists, who are the people who that I want my students to know about, and and bring all of those resources to the table as well. Okay. So what I plan to do in the next steps um, is to have in-person workshops to build a course for fall. So you'll just have a group of professors coming together, and we would meet in person. And it will not be long. So we would work on the syllabus and the course map, and then we would look at different things, and we would go down, and even in making sure, and we would have to get help from C.A.L with this, is the accessibility. Um, just making sure that what you're doing in your class is accessible as well. And so, I will be looking at the um, the course and learning objectives, reflecting on the design of the syllabus, creating the course map, instructional materials, and this is very much like that's already lined up in Blackboard. Student engagement, and I think with the student engagement, it's going to be helpful to have people from different disciplines, because you may be using something like I learned from Dr. Plummer about the crossword puzzle, and that's why I spoke with Grace and Kit about that. And I did have a chance to meet about the crossword puzzle. So any tools, and I know that Grace does the gamification, and that's another thing that's going to be helpful. And then Mr. Trotman does the VR, and so and I also learned about that from Dr. Plummer. She told me about the body swap. So there are a lot of things that we can put into our classes that will get our students really motivated and going. And then using resources that are human and material. Just finding out what those resources are that we can use to, to really build on our students' references, references that they can use now and even into the future, so that when they finish that class and finish their degree, they will have the tools and they will be marketable to go out and get the job, and also to represent the UDC family in their jobs and in the community as well. So please look for, just look for the series that's coming up. It'll be coming up early summer. And so please watch for the details in the upcoming C.A.L newsletter. So I really appreciate your time here with me. And I really do look forward to working with the C.A.L team and the faculty here at UDC. UDC is my family. I'm alumni, and I was raised to give back, and that's definitely what I want to do. So I thank you all for being here. Are there any questions? Does anyone have questions? Any comments?
I'm excited for this series. This is going to
Okay.
be great. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Anyone? So again, the series will be coming up soon. I will be talking with, we'll collaborating with the C.A.L team to bring that to you. And thank you so much. And thank you for your time. I know I had a lot of competition this afternoon.